everything I set my face to, even if I don't agree with what I'm seeing.
Mm.
And at this current stage in my life, it's dealing with that expression of the Creator, right? So, for an example, right, for people that read the Bible, for an example, right, there it's written in the text that there were different stages where people, nations, right, they all experienced the Creator in a context that was relative for their space of awareness, right? So, somebody could perceive the Creator as nourishment, or somebody could perceive the Creator as I'm gonna use this term, a battle axe, where you gotta go through the same things over and over and over again, right? But it's still an expression of the Creator. Uh, that there is no separation in that idea of how I understand the Creator now. Uh, it is the element that causes to exist. However you wanna understand that, that's what the Creator is to me.
So when you come from that standpoint of whatever the creator is for you,
Hmm.
and you get in these situations or you get in rooms or you have these conversations with people who have different point of views of what the creator is to them, and it becomes confrontational, what's your advice in those situations?
Well, what I would recommend is that I would encourage people to detach themselves from confrontation. Uh, I have, if we want to start at a point with the literary text, I've never seen anything written that says that the creator is confrontational. Confrontation is rooted. Excuse me, did I say that right? Okay. Confrontation is rooted in the egoic space of creation. Uh, I don't contend that the spiritual essence of the creator is confrontational in any regard. So if things become confrontational, right, I think that that's largely in part because of an assimilation to you expect for people to express it one kind of way, right? Nothing in nature looks the same, smells the same, grows the same, acts the same. Nothing in, I can't really say that anything in our experience, uh, enforces an opinion that the creator is confrontational. So, in the context of your question, uh, detach yourself from confrontation. It doesn't have to be. It's only that way because we want it to be that way. Confrontation is just it's an illusion, but it's available if you need to learn that lesson. It's there for you to take 100% part in.
All right.
Let me let me touch on that a little bit too. I would say also, in that situation, allow your heart to lead you instead of your ego. So once your heart, because the heart is filled with with love. So when you're using that, it it diminishes your ego. No matter how much you want to express your feeling about the situation or this confrontation, always allow your heart to set forth, and in that it will remove you from the confrontation, just like Maury said.
Thanks for that. So, Brother Kazat, can you describe your understanding of the divine or higher power in your current belief system?
Wow. It's listening to the brother speak before me. It's like so many what we call downloads, and so many paradoxes. For those who are watching, look that word up. Example, venom kills, but venom also heals. That's a paradox. But all paradoxes can be reconciled. And it's dealing with the polarity. So I asked the creator to give me the right words, because no matter what I say, it's a distortion. I'm a human being, you know. I'm a soul in a physical body, so I can only capture based on my understanding, and being a physical being expressing spirit. It's gonna always be distorted. That's every human being, or those that I've met, or those that I understand. So my understanding of okay, I'm gonna speak paradoxically. There's a source. That source is the full and total expression of all that there is. You can call it the void. Or some people will say nothingness, but when you think of nothing, you're still thinking of something to some degree, which is a paradox in itself. But that void, all of the total expressions of this void brought forth in love and in light, the fullness of expression of itself.
Right.
And that expression of itself is the creator. So it's the source and not the source at the same time, because there's the source and it is the expression of the source. Some would say the spirit of God. Some circles would call it the son of God. But it's that light that emanates from that void. In Kabbalah, we talk about the Ein Sof. And from that light comes all of the different emanations and dimensionalities of all that there is.
Come on.
So we're talking about ones and zeros. The zero is a placeholder of no thing. And the one is the full expression of the zero. And from that one comes all the other digits that we call numbers, but they're all just clones of the one. And I hope everybody's following me on that. A 1 plus a 1 equals a 2. And they only go up to 9. And then it passes back through a 0, which is another expression. It starts another expression, another phase or dimension. So the thing that we deal with is the concept of, we're not the creator. And I know there's people watching this and they're like, we're created beings and created things and so on and so forth. And you're not wrong.
Right.
But you're not right either. It's both.
Right.
We're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And as a physical being, you exist in it's finite. This existence is finite, but the soul is infinite. And that soul emanates from the source or the creator. And it's things that we're going to get into in time. You're going to understand that some of these understandings of the creator are actually creators or more expressions of the one. And we fell into worship of these things. That's why they say, Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh is a man of war.
Right.
And then somebody will explain that away and say, oh, that's just an
idiom.
An idiom, or it's a parable.
Right.
You could be right, but again, it's a paradox. It's a man of war.
Right.
This may be a man that doesn't look like you and I.
Right.
So, like the brother said, the creator is all things, all expressions, and at the same time, it's not. So that's my understanding of the creator. And I say this, when I look at, and this is a hard thing because you're dealing with ego, or you're dealing with your persona or your personality, the construct that you created to have this physical experience. When I look at every human being, I have to tell myself that there's a piece or there's an aspect of the source in that person. And the more words we put on them, this is an a-hole, this person gets on my nerves, this person is dumb, all these different things that we come up with, it's really looking at the expression that they're serving you with so that you can work on yourself.
Come on.
That's the gift of the creator. Being that to bring out in you who you truly and what you truly want to express. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. That's good, I know.
But then I would come back.
Come on.
Because I'm listening to what you're saying. So for me, can you break down in your words the difference between viewing someone's or your internal ego and projection? Or do you view them to be the same?
Say it again.
Ego versus projection.
Explain when you say projection, when you projecting onto somebody else.
Right.
It's I want to say paradox, but I don't think it is. A lot of times who we are, we project on other people. So it might be in the let me say the interesting thing is that because we're so powerful as creative beings, as aspects of the creator, we create the reality or to perceive the reality and how we choose to perceive it. So if I got something going on with me towards somebody else, I'm going to always, for the most part, project me on them, for starters, until I do my inner work. So if I may lie, cheat, steal, look down on people, look up to people, then situations and circumstances will present itself to mirror that back to me. So, man, why are they over there looking at me and laughing? Are they making fun of me? They think is it because of this shirt that I didn't think looked good today, and they making fun of my shirt? So now I'm projecting out something that's going on with me, my insecurities, onto these people, because at the end of the day, I have no enemies.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's a hard pill to swallow, but I have no enemies. I have reflections that have been given to me to work out how I want to function in the earth and how I want to deal with people. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does.
Okay.
I hope it answered for the people.
I hope it does.
Good.
You touched a lot because I'm on meditation before.
Yes.
So, and it's okay, and Malak, you have to. Are there any specific rituals or practices that are important in your belief system?
Trust that if I put forth effort towards something, that it's going to work. It's a saying, whether you say that whether you say you can or you can't, you're right. So I've always been a person that say, if I'm going to do something and I put my mind to it, I do it. It's just a matter if I'm going to maintain doing it or it worked this time and I fall back into whatever my other routine is. So, say the question one more time. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Are there any specific rituals or practices that are important in your belief system?
Yes. I was saying that to say consistency, persistency, and discipline. For lack of better terms, discipline yourself. Right. It's gaining discipline, and it's one of those words that a lot of people don't like to hear. But all discipline is do you get up and brush your teeth every morning? Sometimes you may forget once or twice, or you're in a rush or whatever. I forgot. But do you generally brush your teeth every morning? And you're like, well, yeah, of course I do. Well, discipline yourself to do something else. I do affirmations. And even more so, I'm really big on looking in the mirror in the morning as I brush my teeth and telling myself, whether audibly or mentally, I love you. I've said that before. I write my affirmations down. Sometimes I go over them. Sometimes I don't. I don't try. I pray every day on rising and going to sleep. I do certain, they call them meditations, but in my Reiki practice, I do trauma healing, and I do just general healing of myself before I go to bed and when I get up in the morning. I like to read certain scriptures in my prayer book before we leave, Modeh Ani. Mm-hmm. And throughout the day, I try to stay prayerful. I keep saying try. I do. And I always, for the most part, ask myself in random times of the day, how do you feel right now? And I get as still as I can in that instant. It only takes seconds, and see how my body feels and see what thoughts are flowing through my mind. And is this a good day? How does a good day feel? Is this a good day? How do I feel right now? How do I feel towards and I look at people and I'm like, man, I'm supposed to love you. I'm supposed to love you. I'm supposed to love you. And then I see how I feel about loving all these people, these fat, people, these skinny people, these big head people, and I'm a human being. I could put these analogies on people, so nobody get offended, because we all look at people and say, "Man, that's an interesting looking person." And I sit here and I go through. I'm being funny and serious at the same time, and I'm like, "Wow, this is really a beautiful thing."
Right.
We're not all the same. We come in different shapes and sizes, different skin tones and complexions, different ways of thinking, and it's really beautiful. It's the one of the daily miracles of the Creator. So I find what works for me. These are the things that works for me, and I find that within even the last in the last 20 minutes, it has changed how I handle any situation, every situation. And I'll leave it there. Did I answer your question?
You did.
Okay.